All right, today we're going to be doing some experimentation with Permobil chairs and their gyros. The reason I'm laughing is this is the 4th time now I'm recording this because stupid things keep happening, like aftermarket camera batteries dying and other factors that are beyond my control. Anyways, the overall premise is Permobil has gyroscopes on the front wheel drive chairs, and those are required when you go over 5 miles an hour to keep the chair from flipping around and going backwards and throwing you off sidewalks and stuff like that. But they have 2 different versions. The chair I'm sitting in right now is a 2021 F3, and it's got the original gyro that they started using ever since this chair was introduced. I think it was 2017, 2018, something like that. But around 2023, they introduced a new version of the gyro from PG Drives, and it actually lets you adjust the parameters, and it doesn't get in your way. This current one in my chair, it's really frustrating. Like, this is as fast as I can turn. That's it. Full joystick, delay, starts turning. I've kind of gotten used to it and figured out how to make my brain not be frustrated by it. But the reason this all came up is we have another F3 right here. And for assorted reasons, and mainly because this chair I'm sitting in needs the motors replaced badly, I hopped into this thing and started running around. I forgot it had the new gyro. It moves and does exactly what I want it to. I can drive, I can turn, I can stop, I can go through doorways and do complex S-turn maneuvers. And if you've got an older F3, you know what I'm talking about here. But we're gonna try and swap the gyro from that chair onto this one and see if we can make it work. Arnet being CAN bus and having internal lookup tables, it should just automatically detect and reconfigure the system when we connect it, but I don't know. So that's why we're gonna try this. I think it should be a really interesting experiment and maybe potentially help some people if you can find one of the gyros for sale. I've got the laptop hooked up to this chair and I'm pulling the base configuration off of it right now, just to use for a reference. I don't think I'm gonna put the gyro in this chair back into that one because it's older. And also you may be wondering, why are you taking a perfectly good, basically brand new chair offline just to screw around? Well, easy. I found one of the gyros on eBay and it'll be here in a week. So when that arrives, assuming this works and that gyro works in this chair, we're gonna put it back in there and that thing will be good to go. Just a quick look at the file here. I'm not gonna do any mods right now, but we have under stability and gyro module and global, we have things like angular speed scaler, proportional gain, integral gain, and other stuff like that. But the values are actually adjustable. And what I was talking about earlier, these older gyros, if I go into programming on this chair, this is the 2021 F3, and then system, diagnostics. On the older chairs, this unknown module here, this is actually the gyro. It isn't like technically recognized by the system. And well, I mean, it is literally a black box. Figuratively speaking, it's also a black box because it just does what it does and you can't make any changes. But if we go into the newer chair here, into the same set of submenus, you can see instead of unknown module, it says gyro 2.3. And that's all the filming we get to do for today because my upstairs neighbor just got home. Yes, I have new neighbors now. Nothing wrong with them whatsoever. I just can't handle the percussive noises of footsteps over my head. And I have to put on my earplugs, the electronic earplug things, so my brain doesn't melt. So anyways, I'm gonna keep working on some stuff. I'll see you tomorrow. Luckily on the F3 chairs, the gyroscopes are pretty easy to get to. They're essentially underneath the covers right about here. I've already pulled out the top cover screws and we're going to carefully attempt to remove this. Right there is the new style gyroscope. The older ones also mount in the same place, but the new ones only have a single cable plugging into them. The old style ones have two. Well, at least they have two ports on them. We'll just hinge this back cover down to be careful of the light wiring harness here. Then there appears to be a single zip tie holding that on. Well, a zip tie and a bolt. And let's get our, I guess we can turn off the breaker. We'll get this pulled out of the way so we can see a little bit better here. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it looks like we've got a little ferrite bead or something around the R-net cable here. That's very interesting. And, oh, they're using a splitter. So we've got the main R-net cable that goes down to the controller here, comes out, but then we've got a splitter. I haven't seen them actually use that before. Typically they have one of those little multi-port, I can never think of the name of them. It's, you plug in one R-net cable, then there's three more other ports you can plug stuff into. Sort of like a power strip for CAN bus. Normally that's what they use back here, but that's interesting. Yeah, we may have to do a little bit more screwing around on the other chair, but that plugs in there. This unplugs from the gyro. And yeah, sure enough, we have, I'm assuming that's ferrite core or bead or choke or whatever you call these. The new gyro that I bought on eBay did not come with this cable, so that might be interesting. Anyways, let's see about getting this unmounted. This bracket does appear to be exactly the same though as it is on my chair. The older gyro is a lot bigger and it fits in here, and these four screws hold it on in the back. Yeah, we can see the thing here. It's a lot simpler, a lot smaller. Just a single port on it. It says R-net. I'm assuming there's probably model numbers on the back of it. And a single screw goes all the way through. It's going to be interesting to see if we have any issues though. I'm sure they use this cable for a reason. Well, I guess we can try and turn the chair back on and see if it'll work. I know on the older style gyros, if the chair was programmed to have it and you unhook it, when you power the chair back up, it's not going to be happy and won't move at all. So I guess it'll be interesting to see if anything has changed there. Well, I think we're done with this for now, so we'll just tack this cover back on for now. Oh man, I really hate Permobil's plastics on these things. There's all these little hooks and catches, and this just comes right off if you're not careful. Okay, one thumb screw. Good enough for now. Let's move this thing out of the middle of the room. Put it back over here in the power chair storage area. Alright, good enough for now. I almost forgot. We were going to power this thing up and see what happens when the gyro is not attached. Okay, doing the auto detect. We will reboot. And yep, there we go. Oh, wait. Hang on. Is that red or orange? I can't tell. Oh, yep. There we go. Yeah, it actually says gyro disconnected. Interesting. And I noticed a setting when we were screwing around. It limits the overall speed of the chair. It will still move, apparently, but yeah, I had noticed that there was a gyro air state speed restriction. So that's what we're getting now. Well, that combined with the fact that the seat lift is up. But yeah, so it does still work, but just not very fast. Okay, we're back on the floor again, and I have my 2021 F3, which is my daily, here in front of me. We're going to see if we can get that gyro installed in here, and how that's all going to work. Oh, dang it, I forgot to grab the T-handles again. They're sitting right over there. Oh well. Whatever. Just like before, I got the thumb screws out. I have sort of attached the plastic on this one a little bit better. Well, I used hot glue, but I think I wound up cutting it out of the video, but this is the trim piece off the other chair. And I wound up breaking all of the mounting tabs off of it, except for this one, trying to get it back on there. So we're gonna have to do some mods to get that back on. I thought it would be kind of cool, actually. Sorry, side tangent, but I thought it would be cool to maybe drill some holes through each section where these are supposed to be and put some nice stainless fasteners there or something like that. Oh, I suppose while we're in here, we could check and see if these Permobil branded batteries are swollen. Yeah, I don't see the top on them poking up on either side. So yeah, I've not been using the Volt Pro charger on these. So they seem to be lasting a lot longer. These have been in here for quite some time now. Oh, that's right. I still need to replace that shock absorber. Ugh. Why does everything always gotta cost a bunch of money? Okay, here we have the old style gyro. You can see we have 2 connections plugged into it, which means we're gonna have to... Oh, they don't have that port multiplier back here. And let's see, that plugs directly in there, and then this goes up front. So we might need to poach that Y cable. Okay, well that's annoying. So pretty much whenever I'm on the floor working on something, I always have a backup chair. We're using that one as the backup chair. Even with the gyro unplugged, it still moves slowly. But I probably shouldn't take parts off of that one while I'm working on this one. Let's see, what can we figure out here? Okay, we have a plan. I went and grabbed one of these things, which allows you to plug in multiple Arnet things to a single spot. Let's turn off our breaker, get it kind of pulled out of the way here. Yeah, there you can see our old gyro, and it looks a lot different than the newer ones. It's got the same overall mounting bracket, but they've added this thing that allows it to go on there. But this whole thing right here is the old style gyro. Yeah, look at that, Phillips screws. How nice of them. And here you go. It says, who even makes this? It doesn't have the PG Drives logo on it, but you can see the difference between the two here. They're definitely different. We have a single port instead of 2. This one is sort of a pass-through, but anyhow. Just for comparison, I think you can see there the bolt hole pattern is the same. And you want to make sure this is mounted tightly, because if it bounces around or gets any sort of vibration, it needs to be mechanically attached to the chair very firmly, otherwise it's not going to do its job correctly. That is now on there. Let's see, do we have room to put this somewhere here? And there's not a lot of room in here. And I think we kind of got this figured out. Careful with our lighting connector. Will this cover close? Not really. I'm understanding now why they use that Y cable down in here instead of one of these things. Nope. Yeah, I think I was thinking of older Permobil chairs where they had this thing tucked away in the back here. Well, I give up. I went ahead and pulled the Y cable off of this chair, and we're gonna put it onto this one. And I'm currently sitting on the floor with no backup chair. I can make either one of these move if I need to. It'll just take me a few minutes. It's a little tricky to get to this cable down here. Not even sure if there's room for this to feed through here. I don't think there is. Yeah, so that cable's just gonna have to be along for the ride. Oh boy. Plug our motor back in. We can use this thing as it was intended under the gyroscope. And I can see now why they use that zip tie, because this little ferrite bead can rattle around and bang up against this thing, and that's gonna cause problems. Plug this one in, and now maybe we can get the back cover closed. maybe. Ugh. And there is just no room for anything in here. Okay, I think we've figured it out with the Y cable. We can't get the RF choke in there for now, but we're just gonna pretend it doesn't need that. I got the Y cable plugged into the gyro. It kind of loops around back here. We've got one cable going down to the main controller and the other one going up front. Will the lid close? Just kind of barely. Okay. Why is this so difficult? Ugh. I am right at the edge of getting really frustrated and starting to pound on things. I'm gonna turn off the camera and I'm gonna put this back together and try to be calm. Oh my goodness. I literally just spent 45 minutes trying to get this cover back on here. The stupid clip on this side has finally gotten to the point where you can't just slide it on anymore. I took the back cover off. Hang on, let me get a screw in before this comes off because I will absolutely lose my mind if this thing comes off of here again. Okay. I took off the top cover, I took off the back cover. I put them both upside down on my lap. It still took me 5 minutes to get the two pieces put together upside down where I can see everything. I'm not taking this off again without, what am I gonna do? I wanna put some bolts or something in, or maybe riv nuts, but this plastic's a little thin to use riv nuts. Anyways, the gyro has been swapped. We got the covers back on. We didn't need to use this. We did have to poach that Y cable though from the other chair. I'm gonna sit here for a minute and think about fluffy bunny rabbits and rainbows, and then we will move on. We were not, however, able to get this in there. Don't know if that matters, but anyways, I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, let's turn on the breaker. Breaker's on. Let's see what happens and see if we still have a chair. I assume it's going to auto detect. Yep. Okay. Oh boy. We got memory errors, seat lift error. Let's see if we can at least lower the seat lift down. Yeah, that goes down fine. And yep, it does not like that new gyro. I'll take the back cover off again, aren't I? I mean, the other option would be we could copy the configuration off of this chair and put it onto this one. Maybe that'll work. Where's my laptop? I don't think my laptop's within reach. And I'm sitting here on the floor between two dead chairs. Excellent. All right, well, I slithered across the floor over to where the laptop was, so let's see if we can make some magic happen here. So this is the configuration we just pulled off of that chair. I know we're going to need to change the motor ohm compensation, but for now, we're just going to try and copy this onto my chair and see if we can get it to come alive or something. So, Permobil dealer, continue. It's going to give us the warning. I don't care. Go ahead and program, and let's see what happens. Now let's power cycle the chair. And if this is a cabling issue. Like, maybe I didn't wire something correctly. I'm gonna have to take this cover off again. Let's see, I'm thinking, so the Y cable went in, plugs into the gyro, that goes out. We're gonna take it all apart, remove the Y cable, and just plug this in temporarily to make sure our wiring is correct. There could be something with that Y cable that I don't know, so. Oh wait, we have an error on the screen, what is that? Oh, bad cable. Yeah, that's fine, that's actually this cable right here. Okay, I'm gonna pull this apart, I'll be right back. Okay, we've got everything plugged in here, and we know this configuration should be valid for wiring, so let's turn our breaker on, turn on the chair, and see if any hardware has changed. No, it has not. Okay, let's unplug the gyro, turn it on again. Auto detect is happening because hardware has changed. Power cycle. Huh. Interesting. Let's plug the old gyro back in. See what that does. What was that? Probably bad cable. There's that memory error. Okay, that makes sense because we changed the software. Let's go ahead and stick our other configuration back on here that was on the chair. And now, oh, brakes are off. Ooh, why is that brake so quiet? Okay, anyways, we're back to operating. I can't remember if I said it earlier, but on these older chairs that use this older style gyro, if you just unhook it, I believe the chair won't be able to drive at all. It is interesting with the newer one though, that it still will let you drive, that we discovered before, but I'm gonna unplug this again and see if that goes back into the error state where there's no more drive options. Okay, yeah. So, whatever firmware or configuration is on this thing, with the older style gyros, when you unplug them, all the drive modes are completely gone because apparently it's just expecting this thing and it's not there. I'm gonna do a little bit more playing around and see if I can figure out a way past this, and then I will give you guys an update because I feel like there should be a way to deal with this. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna call it. I think I'm gonna call it here. I've been screwing around for over an hour, trying different settings and copying different files and whatnot. What I've discovered over the years is while these dongles for RNet do have a pretty wide capability, there's still some things they can't do. And the actual handheld programmers are capable of a much more low level, like firmware or configuration transfer, as it were. I thought about maybe swapping the controller from this chair to this one, but I don't want to get that far into it. I really don't want to completely take this chair offline, but I'm just gonna say I don't think this new gyro is compatible with my old 2021 F3. There's something with the way the firmware or configuration works with this thing and this chair, and it's a mysterious black box that can't be adjusted. And even trying to add this and remove it to other chairs in the past, I found is a little bit tricky. In the past, on a C500, for example, when I wanted to add a gyro, I was able to use the dongle and copy over the firmware configuration and make it work. But there's a lot of spoofing and stuff going on in these chairs. I know I've mentioned that a lot. And I don't know. This one, I'm just going to give up. I've been sitting on the floor too long between two dead chairs. I need to get this one working again, and we're just going to call that good. So I'm going to fight with this stupid back cover again, get this thing buttoned up, get back in my chair, and decide what we're doing next, if anything. Okay, we're back in our stock configuration. Auto detect has completed, so let's restart. And then Yeah, we're probably gonna get the errors here. What do we have? Memory error, that makes sense. Let me turn off this light. Let's get our original configuration dropped back on here. And hopefully we have a chair again. And I think we should be good. Okay, the thing moves. Make sure we don't get a memory error. We're probably gonna get a bad cable error, but that's, well, there is actually a bad cable, but. Okay, anyways, that seems good. Seat lift works. Tilt and everything. Okay, so we're back in our regular state here. Now I get to fight with this back cover again. Oh joy. But screwing around later, this thing is all back together. The covers are on. It has become a power chair again. Now we're over here working on this guy. Since we're already on the floor, we might as well get this thing buttoned up. And I've got all the wiring tucked back in. The gyro's in here. We got that. Zip ties are all re-added. And I think our Velcro's trying to come off there, but that's kind of what it does, so whatever. And why is the wiring so tight on all these things? Yeah, see, that won't even close. What the junk? Does that go back there? Maybe? Okay, whatever, sure. Stay. Wait a minute, does this thing have group 34 batteries in it? 65 amp hours. Yeah, sure enough, it's got group 34s in it. All right, well, good to know. Why is everything constantly fighting everything? Okay. Ah, it's doing it again. It's not, this side won't latch. Okay, I think it's in there. Oh man. Okay, where's the thumb screws? Both chairs are functioning again. A couple things are going on. I'm extremely frustrated by trying to get the plastics reinstalled on both of these chairs. The project itself, yeah, sure. This is why I play around with things. It didn't work. That's fine. But now I know. And we learned a couple of other things along the way. Also, I'm gonna have to move. Like, there's this place has done its job. It was a stopgap when I needed to get out of the bus because it was super hot, but like, I can't. It's like the people aren't even being unreasonable. They're just walking around up there, but I can't deal with the noise. Like I mentioned in the previous clip, I have what's called semicircular canal dehiscence. It's where there's a hole between your brain cavity and inner ear, and it basically makes you hypersensitive to any sort of percussive noises and or loud noises. And yeah, I thought they were gonna go to work today, but they haven't. I'm frustrated. I had to get outside for a little while. Nice weather. More horses. No dogs allowed. Oh man. Ugh. I forgot how terrible these front-facing cameras are. Ugh. Yeah, I had to get out for a while. Actually, really good timing. I was about ready to hop into the bounder, which I'm in now, and go for a run. And my friend called me and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Going outside." He's like, "All right, let's go." So we went and did a bunch of exploring, And we actually found a sort of like a meat packing supply house or whatever with a showroom. We had no idea it was there. So he does a lot of hunting, and they have all the supplies you need for processing everything. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm back now, feeling better. Got some sunshine and all that stuff. But let's see, what were we doing here? Okay, last thing. I just realized we should probably do some sort of comparison so you can see the difference that I'm talking about between the two chairs. These are both functioning again. I've got that one put back together. The one I'm sitting in is obviously put back together. So I'm gonna throw the camera on the floor, and then I'm gonna do some maneuvers in here. I'm not gonna go full speed because this chair, well, I've got an indoor profile set up and it's about the same on both chairs. Regardless though, the one I'm sitting in right now is severely limited by the gyro, so you should be able to see the difference. But yeah, let's start out with the 2021 F3. Actually, you know what? I lied. I'm gonna put this chair at full speed just so you can see the difference. Even with the F5 motors, I think it should be noticeable. This is as fast as this chair will turn. And sometimes it kind of freaks out. Okay, let's switch to the other one. Okay, now we are in the 2023 F3. Completely stock, little bit of tuning with a programmer, but nothing on the OEM side, just all inside of the available stock settings. Like, I'm almost overshooting my turns because this thing turns so fast. Look at this. I think I could, yeah, I could get this thing to do donuts in here. I'm not going to, but yeah, look at this. It's just, you can stop and turn around, like, yeah, so anyways, I think you should be able to see the difference. This has 6.5 mile an hour F3 motors. That one has 7.5 mile an hour F5 motors, and it's less than half of the maneuverability of this one. So yeah, the new gyro is awesome. Now, something to note here, these two chairs are pretty different in the sense that this one goes slower, has less torque. This one goes faster and has more than double the amount of torque. But the turning performance is the main thing. Obviously in a straight line, you know, you can catch up and go past. But when you're trying to maneuver around your house and whatnot, I'm sure you know how incredibly frustrating it is when you're trying to do something quickly and your chair's just like, nope, we're gonna go really slow and be super safe. My old Quickie could do circles around that thing. What's wrong with you people buying this brand? You're 100% correct. There are other brands of chairs that maneuver better than this. However, we are talking about these two specific generations of Permobil F3s. Gyros are stupid, and anyone that has one with a chair shouldn't have a chair at all. We all know that rear-wheel drive chairs exist and they don't have these problems. However, some people have front-wheel drive chairs, they prefer them, and if you want to go more than 5 miles an hour and not careen off a sidewalk, you have to have a gyroscope. It has nothing to do with wheelchair driving skill. It is 100% physics. Well, now the question remains, what does any of this have to do with anything? Well, I just like to experiment with stuff and see if we can make changes and modifications. Obviously, Permobil does their interesting blend of RNet with their own overlay on top of it. I have no idea who made these old gyros, but they're 100% standalone devices that you can't access or change settings on. They just are how they are, and that's how it is. The newer ones do let you adjust things, but they're not compatible with the older chairs. And in case you're wondering, I talked about swapping the main controller from the power base on these chairs. I checked, they're both the exact same model number. So that goes further to reinforce, I mean, kind of completely different topic, but when you're attempting to buy used parts from eBay or something like that, the numbers that are printed on the stickers on the modules mean nothing. It's a general representation of what hardware is inside, but that's kind of like trying to buy a computer and only looking at the model number. Like say we've got a Dell Inspiron D420 laptop, and just by looking at that model number, we'll have no idea what operating system it has on it. So that's what's a little confusing with this stuff, and tells me that there is a lower firmware or configuration level. I would like to introduce you to the ice maker. Anyways, I just wanted to point out that the control modules are physically the same model number, but their internal firmware or configuration is drastically different and incompatible with this newer style gyro. Probably doesn't really mean anything to anyone. I mean, if you've got an older 2021 F3 like I have, or one of the even older ones going back in time, you probably do for another chair anyways. So if nothing else, I guess we know that the gyros are a little bit better on the newer chairs. But then Power Platform's a thing now, and I still haven't gotten to sit in one of those and see how they perform. I think it's a similar setup as this, but yeah, so anyways, this was me screwing around and attempting to do some stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the live stream.